Hello viewers, for DIYers here with another video for everyone. In this particular video here, I'll be showing you how to replace the power steering fluid and fluid filter on a BMW E23. A similar procedure may also apply to other BMW models of this generation, such as the E24 and E28. This particular car is a 1984 733i equipped with the M30 engine. I've already replaced the pressure reservoir for the brake booster, and I do have a tutorial for that, so be sure to check it out for more information. First is draining the fluid from the system. I didn't remove any fluid from the reservoir, as it'll drain when removing the plug on the pump. Here's the plug on the pump I will be removing. This isn't a drain plug, it's a cap for the pressure relief valve. Considering the car has been sitting, I just want to make sure it's not sticking. If you are encountering power steering issues with your car, this could be a possible culprit. A 22mm wrench is required. Being behind the pulley, it doesn't allow enough room for a ratchet. For a wrench, I'm using my jumbo wrench set from OEM Tools model number 22120. This is an 8-piece set that comes neatly packed in a canvas case, great for those working at home or professionals in the field. A link to this set will be included in the video description. You can work from a top or a bottom, however I do find the bottom does give slightly more access. Be careful so you don't damage the starter threads. There is a spring in behind this cap. Keep pressure on the cap when removing. Once out, remove a spring in behind the cap. I'll show you the assembly in a moment. Then the pressure relief valve should slide out. If it's stuck, then this would be causing an issue and you'll need to clean it accordingly. Allow the fluid to drain. You may consider turning the wheel to help push out any fluid. Even pump the brakes to push out the fluid from the brake booster reservoir. Only do this with the engine off. Don't start the engine as you can cause damage to the pump when there's no oil in the system. While the fluid is draining, remove the cap on the reservoir and there will be a filter in the bottom. First is removing the screen strainer. This is held into place with a C-clip. I found it's easiest to use a standard screwdriver or pry tool on each side of the clip. Then with a light leverage on the edge of the reservoir, slide the clip up and gently work it past the threaded portion. Then lift out the screen. Here's a view before the filter is removed, and as you can see, there's a cap at the bottom holding down the filter, along with a retaining spring and clip. Next is removing the retaining clip holding down the spring and filter. Slowly twist it up off the center shaft, and gently work it past the threaded portion. This does take a little patience. Remove a spring, it just sits into place. Use a magnet to remove the cap on the filter. And finally is removing the filter. I used pliers for this. Here's a look inside before the new filter gets installed. The center rod is not removable. It looks to have a spot welded bracket holding it into place. Here's the new filter. It's a sintered brass filter. Install the filter. I used pliers to put it into place. Don't just drop it in. Try to center it up by eye so the other components align easier. Here's the cap. This was cleaned using brake cleaner and a clean rag. Then this gets installed as well. The spring was also cleaned and installed this too. And finally is the clip. Direct it around the threads. Don't just push it past as you may damage the threads. Once it's on the smooth portion, push it down so there's tension pushing down on the filter. If the clip doesn't stay in place, you may need a new replacement. I put the cap back into place just so no dirt falls inside. As for the pressure relief valve, here's the assembly. First is a plug which holds it into place. This was cleaned using brake cleaner. It uses a crush washer as a seal. These only have a one-time use, so a new replacement will be needed. If you remove the power steering line at the pump, that connection too uses crush washers. 2 will be needed as well. Each washer I believe is a different size. Next is a spring, and finally is a pressure relief valve. This too was cleaned using brake cleaner. Make sure the cleaner dries so it doesn't contaminate the fluid inside the pump. All the components must be clean and free of any dirt so it doesn't cause damage. For installation, I pushed the valve back into place first, then installed the spring, and finally the cap with the new crush washer. I found it's easiest to do this while under the car. One finger can push the plug into place, while the other hand rotates the plug. And finally tighten. Back up to the reservoir, the screen was also cleaned using brake cleaner. Inspect it to make sure there's no damage. There is a finer mesh at the bottom compared to what is seen at the top. Make sure the gasket is also in good condition and replace if needed. Put this into place. Then put the retaining clip into place. First is threading it on, then push it down on the smooth area. I found it's easiest to use the box end of an 8mm wrench to slide it down on the shaft. It's not completely pushed down, so it can be removed easily after for maintenance, but it still keeps the strainer into place. And finally add the fluid. This car uses Dextron version, which is a red color. I have upgraded to a full synthetic. This is a personal preference and isn't mandatory. I haven't been able to find the exact capacity, unfortunately. From what I've found, it's about 2.4 liters or 2.5 quarts. Make sure the fluid level is even with the bottom of the screen. There will be air in the system, so the fluid level will drop. Remove the fuel pump or fuse. This will allow you to turn the engine over, rotating the power steering pump, helping push any air out of the system. You can also turn the wheel left to right, lock to lock multiple times with the engine off. This will also help remove any air in the system before the engine started. Add fluid as needed. Now start the engine, then continue to operate the wheel multiple times, full lock to lock each way, left to right. Do this at least 4 times or when the fluid level stops dropping. Add fluid when needed again. It should be below the level of the screen so you're not running the system low. Next is pumping the brake pedal. This is a hydraulic assisted system instead of a vacuum system. Here you can see the bubbling in the fluid. This must be completely gone, and the fluid should be a clear red color to indicate there's no air in the system. When pumping the pedal, make sure it doesn't overflow over the reservoir. When it comes close to the top, stop pumping, let the fluid level lower, then continue the same procedure again. Add fluid if needed, keep pumping the pedal until all the air is gone. You may even consider turning the wheel left to right again just to be safe. Make sure all the air is bled from the system, otherwise it can cause damage to the power steering pump. When done, turn off the vehicle, and now it's checking the fluid level. Do this while the fluid is still hot. Pump the pedal at least 10 times until the fluid level stops rising, and this will be your final level. If there's too much fluid, use a turkey baster or suction pump to remove any excess fluid. The final level should be 10 millimeters or 3/8 of an inch below the top edge of the reservoir. Once done, install the reservoir cap, tighten the retaining nut, and inspect the system for any leaks. New videos released every week on my channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to also hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.